Hi guys, welcome to Stacking the Shelves and Showcase Sunday, Mailbox Monday, for March 8th. I did get a number of books this week. I was going to start doing this kind of posting like every other week, but I got quite a few books this week. Couple of them are for review. The first one I got for review was How to Succeed in Business Without Really Crying. Lessons from a Life in Comedy by Carol Leifer. This was, again, from Quirk Books. I get quite a few review books for them. This just sounded funny. I don't read a ton of business books, but I do read some. And this one is supposed to be very hilarious and have some interesting discussion on business and comedy business and just careers in general. So I think it'll be a fun read, and I look forward to reading it. All right, the second one I got for review, I got from Amazon Vine, and that is Ophelia and the Marvelous Boy by Karen Foxley. I've had my eye on this one for a while. I think this already released in February, so it's already released. I got it through kind of Amazon's Vine leftover thing. This is a retelling of the Snow Queen, and I love fairy tale retellings, and I'm in the Fairy Tales Retold Challenge this year, so I thought this would be an excellent book to get. It does look like there's some fabulous like pictures and stuff in this book. It's a pretty slender little book, and I look forward to reading it. I've heard some good things about it, so that'll be good. And I did buy a few books. There's a lot of books that came out in February, March in series that I really love. And so I've been trying to get most of them from the library or request them for review or whatever, but there were just some I weren't able to get my hands on, so I did go ahead and buy 3 books this week. The first one I bought is Magi, The Labyrinth of Magic by Shinobu Utaka. And this is the 4th volume in that series, and I have been reviewing these on my blog. I believe the 3rd review just posted on Friday this week, or the volume 3 review just posted on Thursday this week. Was it 2 or 3? Anyways, so I've been liking these a lot. They're really interesting. It's kind of a retelling of Aladdin is in here, and it deals with the Keys of Solomon, which is a demonology thing, and a grimoire full of demonology. Anyways, they've been really good. They're at a teen level. There is some partial nudity and, some violence and stuff, but they are appropriate for teen level. They've been really a great fantasy manga that's kind of lighthearted and fun, but still has a lot of action and a lot of interesting mythology. So I look forward to reading the 4th volume in this. I mean, really every volume in this has been getting better and better, so that should be exciting. The next book I bought is Half Off Ragnarok? I don't even know how to say that. Ragnarok by Shauna McGuire. There's very few authors that I will buy every book they release, but Shauna McGuire is one of them. She has written a ton of books, and she's read some under her name, Mira Grant. Those are more her horror novels. I have not read a bad book by her. All of her books have been spectacular, and so every time I see she's releasing a new book, I buy it. So this is the 3rd book in the Encrypted series, and I've really loved this series. It's a little bit more lighthearted than her October Day or Urban Fantasy series, but it's a lot of fun. It's about a group, and this one isn't about Verity Price. This is about her brother, I believe. But Verity Price is a cryptozoologist, and her job is to kind of keep the cryptids, which are all the crazy creatures that people don't know, normal humans don't know exist, happy and out of trouble and not bothering humanity. So there's a lot of fabulous mythological creatures in here, a lot of action, a lot of really funny situations. So hopefully this book will be more of the same. I'm excited to read that. The last book that I bought is Split Second by Casey West. Pivot Point was a really good book. It was one of my favorite books of last year. It was a incredibly creative premise, very fun read. This is the sequel to that, Split Second, and I have heard fabulous things about it, and I am very excited to read it. And so I ended up buying it because, Pivot Point was one of my favorite books of last year. I actually got it for review. So I'm very excited to read this, and I think it'll be a fun read. Then I got 2 more books, and those are both from the library. I do read a lot, so I try to get some books from the library when I can, when they're available there. This is the 3rd book in the Frontier Magic series by Patricia C. Reedy. I always say her name wrong. Reedy? Reed? I don't know. I always say her last name wrong, so I apologize for that. I'm a little behind the ball in reading this series. So this one actually came out in 2012, and it was the final book in the series. But I have enjoyed this a lot. It has a very creative setting. This whole series has been set in like an alternate history version of the American Wild West. So instead of them fighting American Indians and stuff like that, which has been a big controversial point of this novel, they're fighting magical creatures. So like the West is populated by all these really ferocious magical creatures, and people are trying to settle that property. And this is about a girl named F who can be powerful magically if she kind of put her mind to it, but she's been getting dragged into all these conflicts, like trying to protect people in the settlements from all these magical creatures that are invading from the Wild West. So the book has kind of been going, like, she goes further and further every time. So in the second book in the series, Past the Great Barrier, she goes past the Great Magical Barrier that's protecting everybody. And in this one, she goes out beyond that to the Far West. So the Far West. I've been a little behind the ball on these. It started with The 13th Child, which was really popular and had a lot of controversy because of the taking out of the American Indians from the alternate history, which I think is a little ridiculous because it's a fantasy, right? So there weren't really magical creatures back in the Old West. Why would, I don't know. I don't understand people get so upset about these things because it is a history and it's a fantasy and everything is made up. So don't get your undies in a bundle. The other thing I really have liked about this series is the other thing she changed about history is African Americans, women, all those people pretty much have equal rights in this. So F works with a woman professor. The lead circuit magician who takes them out is an African American. So, you know, I kind of like that she creates this thing where all different races and colors are actively working together to protect everybody from these magical creatures. That was way too much to say about this. Anyways, I got this from the library and I'm excited to read it, and this is the final book in that series. And then the last book I got from the library, which is one everybody who likes urban fantasy is familiar with, and that is The Undead Pool by Kim Harrison. This is the 12th book in the Hollow series. There are going to be 13 books in this series, so this is the second to last book in this series. I will say that I loved the first like 7 or 8 books in the series. They were not the last book, but the few before that, I didn't like so much. In fact, I was considering dropping the series. But then the last book in the Hollow series, which I'm trying to remember, I think that was Dead Witch Walking. Or no, I'm sorry, that's the first book. Ever After. That one was excellent. And so I've been hearing good things about this. This is supposed to be another excellent book in the series. So I'm very excited to read about it and read more about what Rachel Morgan and Trent are up to. So yeah, hopefully it's a good read. It's a pretty big book, so hopefully it's good. And that is what I got for this week. I will be gone next week. I will still try to keep my blog posting in my absence. It is our spring break, and so we're going to a water park, which will be a nice relief because we've had some pretty cold weather here. This week it actually warmed up, though. It's pretty bad when it's 20 degrees outside, and you think, oh, this feels kind of tropical. But when you think about it, that's 40 degrees warmer than it was last week when it was like -16, -20. So I guess, you know, if it hits like 60, man, we'll all be sweating to death. It is kind of funny, though, because, like, you're, like, getting hot in the car and stuff because it's 20 and the sun's on the car and you're like, oh, it's hot in here. And it's just a weird thing. It's always weird in Minnesota to transition from winter to spring because in the fall, 50 degrees, 40 degrees feels cold. And then in the spring, you're like, oh, my God, it's 30. It's hot out here. So anyways, okay. That's all I really got to say. I hope you guys had a great week and that you got lots of great books. And I will talk to you again next week, I hope.